Hello everyone! My name is MJ26 and welcome back to my channel. In today's For Honor video, I'm going to present to you my tutorial for the Conqueror. I've always had a soft spot for this guy, which is strange for me, as I have never been fond of the heavy character archetype. But for some reason the Conqueror has appealed to me and he's definitely my second favorite hero, especially now with the rework that has been done as part of the Season 5 release. Oh my goodness gracious, I cannot even begin to tell you how much fun he is to play now, and I'm hoping that this tutorial will give you the edge you need to get in on that action. To do this, I'm going to describe the playstyle that I found the most successful, break down his basic moveset, and then I'll delve into some more advanced techniques to beat it all up. The first thing you have to know about the Conqueror is that he is, for the most part, a very reactive hero. By this, I mean that the Conqueror is all about waiting and baiting until your opponent makes a mistake and then punishing them for it. He is described as a heavy archetype, having a strong defense and being a heavy hitter. With the Season 5 rework, he now has a more versatile offense to bring to the table, but he still holds true to his original design as a defensive heavy. His effectiveness in combat is profoundly reliant on your ability to manage stamina. If you run out of stamina, you could be in for a world of hurt. You have to have ice in your veins and a steady hand to excel as a Conqueror. If your parry game isn't up to snuff, that will need to be number one on your to-do list. Next will be the ability to read your opponent, which isn't quite as easy of a task. A good Conqueror has mastered the ability to break down an opponent's fighting style and can anticipate their attacks and reactions. How do they react to your attacks? Do they use a particular combo more than once? Are they aggressive or defensive? All of these details can be gleaned from the first minute or so of combat. Start paying attention to these minute details and then learn how to capitalize on them. That's where we get into the Conqueror's moveset. Okay, so at first his kit seems a little simple. There's literally only one chain combo listed, and the rest of his kit are the bells and whistles that you can add here and there to make the Conqueror's playstyle your very own. Let's get into it. The Conqueror's chain attack is called Conscript's Attrition, which means slow destruction or eating away, and that really starts to make sense when you see it in action. It works by using any conceivable combination of light attacks and heavy attacks in a chain that can go on and on until you run out of stamina. In order to do this, you must change the direction of each consecutive attack, rotating between top, left, and right. The timing is fairly straightforward. Simply hit the attack button of your choice, with whichever direction tickles your fancy, and then do so again right when the attack strikes. Wash, rinse, repeat, and repeat, and repeat. Most higher level players have learned to react quickly to the changing direction, so they'll be able to break your chain. But to other players, this rinse and repeat slow destruction will be sure to get them all worked up into a nice lather that hopefully ends in a sweet execution for you. The next move that is at the heart and soul of the Conqueror is the Shield Bash. This move is performed by dodging forward or to the side and pressing guard break. This will result in an unblockable melee attack that does stamina damage and pushes your opponent backward. This is especially useful for shoving your opponent into a wall, off a cliff, into a fire, onto spikes, or even into another player. But wait, there's more! In addition to being able to dodge into the Shield Bash, the Conqueror also has something called the Shield Bash Mix-Up. It's essentially the same thing, but it can be used directly after any light or heavy attack. It also guarantees a side light after a successful connect, and a guaranteed side heavy if your bash pushes an opponent into a wall. That means that you can infinitely chain lights, heavies, and shield bashes in any combination until your stamina is depleted. This move can also be a cause of consternation to other players, and when used properly, it adds a unique level of unpredictability to the Conqueror's kit. Similar to the Shield Bash is the Charging Shield Crush. This is the Conqueror's out-of-combat sprinting attack. It's performed simply by sprinting towards an unsuspecting victim and pressing guard break just before you connect with them to perform an unblockable melee attack that sends them sprawling to the ground in a heap. Act quickly and you can follow this up with a sidelight to get in some damage. This is a fantastic move to use in 4v4s to give your team a welcome advantage. Be aware that this move can be interrupted. A quick light attack from the enemy will put an end to your fun. Also keep in mind that opponents can dodge your Shield Crush, and if you whiff it, you are exposed to an uncounterable guard break. But even with the risks, this move is still powerfully effective. Next up, the Conqueror has the ability to charge his heavy attack openers. When charging a heavy, the Conqueror will flash pink, indicating that the attack is now charged and will become an unblockable attack when released. Heavy attacks that are thrown out after being charged are faster than normal heavies and do more damage. You can change guard stances while charging your heavy, and you can cancel your charge by pressing the feint button. This does slowly drain your stamina, so keep that in mind when charging. This can also be chained into Conscript's Attrition or a Shield Bash mix-up. The Conqueror's Zone Attack is a nifty little move that can be incredibly useful. When using the zone, the Conqueror gains full block, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Because it is performed by pressing both the light and heavy attack buttons simultaneously, the zone attack can be used as a parry backup if you're not sure which direction to parry. You simply guess in the direction that you want to parry and throw out your zone. If you've guessed correctly, the system will register it as a parry. If not, you will instead throw out the zone, which gives you a block and a hit in one shot. You can cancel after the first swing by pressing guard break. The last thing in my basic tutorial for the Conqueror is the full block stance. This is performed by holding your guard stance down. The Conqueror will then be able to block all incoming attacks except unblockables, which stands to reason, and melees. Be advised that while in full block stance, you are completely vulnerable to a guard break. You cannot counter it if it comes your way. It will also drain your stamina over time, regardless of how many hits you block during the period. I'll talk more about how to use this during the advanced part of my tutorial. Speaking of which, that's what I'm going to present next. It's almost like I've planned this all out with a script and everything. Weird. Anyway, if you're new to the Conqueror, or For Honor in general, this would be a good stopping point to get you out and playing. We've only just scratched the surface of the Conqueror's potential, but what I've just given you should be plenty for you to get out there and have some fun. For everyone else in the audience, welcome to the advanced tutorial. Now it's time to get fancy. I'm talking mix-ups, I'm talking punches, I'm talking mind games, transitions, and counterattacks. This is the stuff that will separate the Conquerors from the, well, the good Conquerors, I guess? Alrighty then, diving right in. First we'll discuss the superior block. This is the ability to interrupt any opponent's chain attack and create an opening for a counterattack. The Conqueror can activate superior block in three ways: dodging, full block stance, and heavy opener startup phase. Dodging into the direction of an incoming attack grants the Conqueror superior block, which will interrupt the attack chain and leave the enemy exposed for a brief moment. Be aware that this does not apply to unblockable attacks, only to normal lights or heavies. Follow this up with a shield bash to start conscript attrition, or pause for just a moment and guard break instead. You can follow this up with a free side heavy and then dive right into the mix-ups. Shield bashes, lights, heavies. Work that lather, baby. Using full block stance will grant superior block on incoming chain attacks. This also gives access to the Conqueror's unique counterattack, the Flail Uppercut. Flail Uppercut is an unblockable heavy attack that comes by pressing the heavy attack button immediately following a successful block while in full block stance. You get all that? This move can start your chain, and it can also lead to an execution. Use this liberally on any opponent foolish enough to throw attacks at your full block. And lastly, superior block is activated during the startup phase of any heavy opener. An opener means the first heavy in a chain. The timing is a little tricky, but incredibly profitable. You simply throw out a heavy attack into the direction of an incoming attack right before the blow would connect. The result is a block that interrupts the enemy's chain and is immediately followed up by a guaranteed heavy. I love using this to punish players who throw heavies at me rather than going for a parry. With the new parry update, just in case you didn't know, you no longer get a guaranteed guard break. You now get a free light attack off of any parried heavy, and a free heavy attack off of any parried light. With this superior block, you can actually get a guaranteed heavy off an incoming heavy, rather than just a parry followed by a light. There is risk to this style of fighting, however. The timing can be very particular, and failure is usually followed by much unpleasantness. Solution? Practice, practice, practice. There are few things as satisfying as turning an aggressive player into a turtle because they are too frightened to throw at any attack. This is one of the ways you can get there. Speaking of turtles, you're going to run into some, and now the Conqueror has tools to draw them out of their little defensive shells. But, unlike every other hero in the game, the Conqueror cannot fate his attacks. Or can he? What the Conqueror can do is something called the Shield Uppercut. This is an unblockable melee attack that does stamina damage. It is done by canceling any heavy attack by pressing guard break during the startup phase. This attack can also be chained into conscript's attrition, and we all know what follows after that. Use this to draw out players who are defensive. If they try to parry attack, you'll catch them off guard and break their defense. If they dodge, you'll end up bashing them in the face anyway. Another technique to draw out a parry-intensive player is to cancel attacks into full block stance. Any heavy attack can be canceled into full block stance during its startup phase. Additionally, any heavy or light attack can be canceled into full block stance during the recovery phase. This gives you a couple of options. If you cancel your heavy during startup, you can catch an enemy's parry attempt and answer it with a flail uppercut. If you miss an attack, you can use your recovery to go into full block and do the same thing to your opponent's incoming counterattack. This is especially useful against assassins and other heroes who can dodge and attack from the side. Use this to get a flail uppercut and then dive right back into the mix-ups. You could even get really fancy and miss on purpose from a distance, then throw down that full block and go for the counter. Another good mind game is played with the charging shield crush. Many players know to dodge out of the way if they see a Conqueror barreling towards them like a freight train. A good way to catch them unawares is to go for an actual guard break instead of a shield crush. All you have to do is stop running right before you get to them and hit guard break. When done correctly, you'll catch them mid-dodge and get a free heavy off of it. These combinations of counterattacks, mix-up, and mind games give the Conqueror a new and surprising level of versatility on the battlefield. Work on those parries and be unpredictable. Learn the counterattacks of the different heroes you fight so you can know how to use them to your advantage. Read your opponent and get them to do what you want, then punish them for their mistakes. I hope that you've all enjoyed this tutorial and that it will aid you on your quest to conquer the For Honor battlefield. If I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments. I'm not the best conqueror in the world, so I'm open to feedback. Please feel free to leave a like below, comment on what you thought of the video, and if you deem me worthy, hit subscribe. This is MJ26 signing off, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, game on.